And hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LT Gaming Podcast. Is this what we're going to call
This
this?
is the third take, Tom. So yeah, I think we can possibly call this a podcast just so we can move on from this particular segment. But yeah, we decided just to come on, talk about games. We talk about games a lot offline, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to come on and actually
Yeah.
record ourselves
And I
for
thought
once.
it'd be really fun to sit here in complete darkness and you're sat there in a
They don't have
well.
lights in Denmark, right? They haven't invented those yet.
No, we're a bit behind the times. Dark Ages and all that.
Well, look what I have over here, in just right here. I have my Manor Lord's warrior helmet. So don't mess with me.
Yeah, and I didn't get one. So there we go.
Well, technically you did, but I kind of stole it.
Cheers for that. But we're here to talk channel. We're here to talk games. How are you feeling about the channel right now? I think we're both pretty enthusiastic, but it'd be good to hear you verbalize.
Have you ever seen the film? I'm trying to think of the name of it now. The one about the financial crash. What's it called?
Oh, not Wall Street. Wolf of Wall Street. That one.
No, not Wolf of Wall Street. That's not how we behave. That's not how we behave. The one where he's like, "Are you jacked?" He's like, "I'm jacked to the tits."
Yeah, I know exactly the film you're talking about. The Big Short.
The Big Short. That's it. Yeah, that's how I feel about the channel right now. That's what I like to go around and say every day.
You're jacked to the tits. This.
Definitely.
Okay, but isn't that film about a huge crisis where it all crashes to zero?
Okay, terrible analogy. Terrible
Okay.
analogy. But look, we just broke 16K.
As
So
of this recording, yeah.
absolutely delighted with the progress. We've taken a real trajectory upwards since we last recorded our podcast at Christmas. It's incredible, right? I just can't believe what's happened. I mean, we're not there yet, and we're definitely got way more ambition.
Yeah.
But it's just humbling to have everybody along for the ride. It really is.
And a massive thank you from me, and I think probably you too, for the support we get, the comments, the likes, the Discord.
We're now living like the Wolf of Wall Street, so thank you so much. It's great.
Yeah, ad revenue.
What we're gonna do this? It's what we do every day on our calls.
Ad revenue is not that high, so
It's not. Ad revenue is pretty awful, right?
it is pretty low.
We love you, YouTube. We love you.
We do. But today we thought we would chat some games and break it down into what we're currently playing and then what we're looking forward to that's coming up in the current year. Do you want to kick us off with your first title?
Yeah, I mean, it really started with the Skulls Festival, and I forced Warhammer a little bit on the channel, but I really would like to grow that avenue. I've been playing a huge amount of Battle Sector. I think it's so true to the tabletop game. I think we were talking about this. I was more interested in the codexes and the books that came with Warhammer rather than the actual tabletop game. But Battle Sector is just so good, right? I bought all the factions. Silverine actually sent me a couple as well, so thanks to them. But I've been having a blast. Every night I set myself a challenge. I do a 1,000-point battle, and I try and beat a certain race. Like the Necrons are very overpowered, so I try and beat them as the Space Marines. And I've been doing that on the Steam Deck in bed as well. So just absolutely loving that game.
I've never played it. I think I probably would connect with the game, but for some reason it's just passed me by. Maybe it's because you take every key that comes in.
I tend to just scan the email. If someone sends us a key, I've just... Like, someone sent us Battle of Britain Scramble, and I just took it. Like, I didn't even ask you.
That just came in.
That just came in, and I just took it. I was like, Tom's not into aviation. I'll take this. Tom's not into Battle Sector. I'll have that.
Cheers. This is a 2-tier channel. Luke calls himself the A, and I'm the B side. So that's...
Yeah, I mean, thanks. Now everyone hates me. Thanks so much.
This is the plan.
You would definitely enjoy Battle Sector. I think most people would. I mean, we're both huge fans of Gladius as well. I like to think of Battle Sector as the tactical experience, and Gladius is the strategic experience. And they really complement each other well, actually.
And is there one you prefer over the other?
Currently Battle Sector, but I'll always love Gladius. I know it has its detractors because of all the DLC, but I'll always enjoy that game. I put so much time into it.
I love that game, so I think Battle Sector is going to be one I have to pick up in the near future. It has to be.
Let's roll on. What's yours?
So, first game I've got is Empire of the Undergrowth, or Empires of the Undergrowth, rather, from Hooded Horse. Absolutely love it. It's kind of like Dungeon Keeper, but I'm in an ant colony. I'm digging out rooms. I'm building different creatures to defend and attack. Workers, getting my colony set up. It's really addictive. It's very well made. I wanted to actually feature it on the release, but the market got kind of saturated, and we spoke about it with videos. But a stellar game, and I've got to say, Hooded Horse are
Hooded Horse, we love you. We love you. Thank you for the helmet.
every game is just knocking it out the park, and I'm flabbergasted by how good each title is right now.
My only thing I would say, and the feedback I've had, is they do have a lot of great games on their roster, but they have a lot of games that are in early access that do need finishing as well. Terra Invicta jumped out at me, and I do think that they need to not lose sight of that just because they've had one massive hit.
But they have delivered on their early access titles. Against the Storm,
Very good.
and this bodes well for example, Mana Lords.
Yeah.
Empires of the Undergrowth coming out of early access. And also there's another one that's kind of on the edge of my mind. Workers of the Republic.
Edge of your mind? That sounds a bit out there.
The periphery. It's
Yeah.
like Workers of the Republic. I can't recall the name of the title.
Soviet workers and resources. That game.
I think that's it. That's coming out of early access very soon.
That's
as well.
a really cool game. It was. I never got the time to jump into it properly when we got first offered it, so I think you will enjoy it. But Manor Lords also sent me a medieval helmet in case I haven't mentioned that. So, or Hooded Horse, sorry. So
first time it's come up. Yeah, brilliant.
I know.
So yeah, let's hear your next one. Move things.
I'm going to go for, and I have a soft spot for this studio. We've always had a great relationship with them, and I talk to the developers a lot. And Philippe, who is the owner, SGS Overlord. I mean, obviously, it's the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We should have done a list video if I did my job. That video should be out already. Just a really, really good return to form for the SGS series. For wargamers, a very niche area, and it's great to have Newt's blood for us to try out. It's just a really good experience. I love playing as the British and the Americans together. It's such a nice dynamic.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, we featured a lot of SGS titles on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
How does this one rank up against the others? Is it your favorite? Is it near the top? Or
Do you know what? I think it has to be one of my favorite because NATO's Nightmare had an absolutely huge ambition, but it was almost too complex in many ways, and they needed to strip it back a bit. And I think Overlord is that perfect balance.
Yeah.
Higher Safari was also extremely good. Korea, I enjoyed. I don't think that the AI and everything in those games is perfect. You know, let's be honest, it's not. But because they work so well on modern systems and they are such interesting conflicts in history, they get me every time.
Yeah, but a very interesting thing was I think you were talking to Philippe about maybe some other avenues SGS could take, maybe down kind of alternate histories or stuff like this.
First person shooters, just everything, you know? We did talk about, I don't want to say too much, but he talked about potentially a grand strategy game from his studio. That would be really welcome. We hope to get him on the podcast at some point as well. He did say he'd come on, so that'd be great. But also, I would love to see them do a fantasy title. I think there's a huge space out there for a fantasy war game. I think it could be really fun.
And the mechanics would work so well with some of the fantasy like units that I could think of, dragons, stuff like this, wizard. Like I could really see that taking hold.
You have that great game from Kraken Studios coming up who did Warplan called Kingdom, Dungeon and Hero. That's definitely one to keep an eye out for. I want to cover that on the channel for sure.
100%. So I'll take my next title here, and it is Songs of Conquest. This is a game I reviewed on the channel, came out of early access very recently. I adore that game.
It's like a piece of art, right? That's the way I look at that game. It's just so pleasant to look at.
Pleasant to look at. It's engaging to play. It obviously derives its inspiration and roots from Heroes, which is a series I've played a ridiculous amount of time in at this point. But at the same time, it's actually taking its own avenue and starting to become something different from that. And I just see the potential of this game is massive as it's just come out of early access. They've really taken a community-driven approach. So I think you're going to start seeing maps, campaigns, all sorts of stuff and materials spring up, which is where Heroes 3 is still played today, is because of the modding scene of the communities kept it going. So massive fan of that game. If you like turn-based fantasy strategy, you can't really go wrong, to be honest.
No, it's just a really aesthetically pleasing game. I love the art style, although there's always some detractors, but I think as reviewers, we always have to try and reach what I like to call the consensus, you know? There are people in the comments who'll pick at games, but honestly, if we can raise those points, then great. But I like to try and get to the consensus of is this game a good game at heart or not? And I
Yeah.
think that it really is a good game at heart.
Am I enjoying myself playing this game, or is it a chore?
Yeah. I
And
mean, you can nitpick everything. No game is perfect, I think. And there's obviously some games that are just bad. But yeah, I mean, honestly, great game, really good choice. And I've been enjoying it as well.
beautiful. What's your last title or your next title?
My last title is a really unusual one for me. It should be one that you're playing. It's called Scold Against the Black Priory. It's a retro 2D Baldur's Gate style RPG. And it has a brilliant vibe to it. I honestly think it's almost game of the year already from just my time playing with it. And I would love to bring it onto the channel, but guys, let me know. Would you welcome that sort of content? Because we do class ourselves as a variety channel. We would never rule out covering anything apart from maybe Roblox or something. But yeah, it's just such an unusual game for me to play and for me to be into. And it's just brilliant. It's just, once again, very much a retro style and just won me over.
Yeah, we have always struggled when we've put RPG style games onto the channel. Now, I tend to be drawn more to RPG titles, so it
Yeah.
is a surprise that you're playing
This is
this.
why you call me the A side.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's not all I call you, but it sounds like a great title. You had me at Baldur's Gate, so
Oh,
two, as long as it's
brilliant.
two, not the third one. Not a massive fan of that one, but
Which is quite controversial, Tom. We should dig into that a little bit. Why do you not like Baldur's Gate 3 that much? Now, my suspicion is because it's basically Divinity Original Sin 3, right? Not really Baldur's Gate.
nail on the head first time. It's not Baldur's Gate 3, it's Divinity Original Sin 3. I liked the Divinity series, but it wasn't my favorite. I adored the Baldur's Gate series, and I played
You
Baldur's
did.
Gate 2 obsessively. I didn't 100% it like some people.
Yeah, right. 100% every game that comes out. What an absolute bullshitter. I don't want,
No,
I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to be, get myself into trouble, but people who claim that on YouTube are full of shit.
yeah, particularly with the playtime they have. If you ever look into it, it's great. But anyway, aside from that, this game sounds a game I'm going to pick up this weekend and dive into it because you've really intrigued me. And I'll
Great. Can I
come.
just mention one more honourable mention because I absolutely love this game? It's called Castle Itter, the strangest battle of World War II. It's about a true battle that took place at the end of World War II. It's a board game. It's extremely niche, and I did it in a list video. Just check it out, guys. If you're into board games or turn-based tactics, a really, really good adaptation of a great story that is untold about World War II. And as we're on that theme this week, I thought, definitely check that one out. I also listened to the audiobook about the battle. Fascinating event. So check that one out.
Fantastic. Sounds awesome. I won't speak too much about the last game I'm playing, and that's Outer Emperors 2, because we're going to do a whole segment on it. But this is a game that's really appealed to me. I was obsessed with EVE Online for about 10, 11 years. Would stay up all night, every night playing it, pirating, looting, griefing, all the nefarious side of the game. But I adored it, and this is like a 2D incarnation of that for me. I think they've got a slightly different perspective on where they want to take it, but we'll dive into that in a moment.
Awesome. Awesome. I just really would love to do a portion of the podcast where we talk about the absolute asshole YouTube channels we've met on the way up, and some who have tried to
Ah,
hold us back, and now we just smashed them to bits. We won't name any names, but yeah, there's some real nefarious characters out there in the YouTube world. I would say in the gaming space.
yes, we've come across our fair share. I mean, I just think it's the name of the game. Everyone's trying to get to the top, so I'm not going to hold it against anyone. I don't really hold
Oh,
any.
I am, and I know you are.
I don't hold any grudges. Everyone's trying to go to the same place, but I think if you don't get the success you want, you naturally start to look for reasons external, maybe to what you're doing, as to
Yeah.
why that's occurring, and they've doing something different or they're doing something underhanded, and that's where it becomes from.
And I mean, publicly, everyone knows now at this stage I fell out with Stardock, so obviously I don't deal with Stardock games, and I'm not going to tell that story. But
That's a whole
yeah,
other podcast.
yeah, I think honestly, I think just going back to the challenges of the channel, it has been disappointing sometimes. There are some great channels out there that will support you, but generally they try and act as gatekeepers when they see you coming up. That's what I've seen.
Yeah,
So if we can do it differently, if we can partner with people or help people, we're always there to do that. So we don't want to be those people who are acting as gatekeepers. So definitely, if we could ever help anybody, just reach out to us.
100%. We're always open to collaboration and working together. Because there's two of us, we naturally, I guess, aren't seeking that out because every day is like collaboration of what you're doing today, what you're working on. But we're 100% open to working with other channels and progressing toward
Good.
that. I
That was a
think.
nice segue, right? Luke
Yeah.
getting some drama out on the podcast. I love it.
Wow. We'll call this the drama section.
The
If
drama. Yeah, Luke's counseling. This isn't a counseling session, Luke. Come on. Let's roll.
All right, but what are you looking forward to coming up? I'll start us off on this one because you started on the other one.
Hey, I'm the A. I'm the A around here.
All right, then you dictate.
No, you go. You go. I'll let
Okay,
you go.
cheers, man. Appreciate that. What a dick. Uh, Falling Frontier. I think we can both probably agree we're excited about this game.
Yeah.
Massive space RTS. I did the preview video on it, and so this is usually what hooks me into a game big style, where I'm like, oh my god, this looks much better.
That was a good video, by the way. I really enjoyed that. I watched that myself, and I was away at the time, and I saw you posted it. You told me you were going to post it, but you did a great job on that one because it really did give a good preview of what's to come. You know.
Yeah, and I'm so intrigued by that game. I predict in 2025 that will be the Mana Lords of 2025.
Okay.
I think it will be a runaway hit. It's an indie dev again, and I think it's just with Hooded Horse backing them, it will come to fruition and be a big success.
I don't know if I just had like a rage moment, but I just punched my mic for no reason. And I don't know. You can cut that bit out if you want, but yeah,
No,
weird.
we'll keep.
I was thinking about those channels, and I was like, oh, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with you. I think it's going to be a hit. I don't know if it'll be quite beyond the Manor Lords level. That was a phenomenon, but yeah, it could be, I suppose.
I'm calling it. You heard it here first. Your
Excellent.
game. Let's go. Let's hear what you.
The first one on my list is Starship Simulator. Now, obviously, it had an extremely successful Kickstarter. The game is super ambitious, and now they have the money to deliver. So, honestly, really excited about that project. I'd like to fit it onto the channel again at some point, if possible, and have a proper discussion about it. Maybe we can get them on to talk about it at some stage. Who knows? As we get bigger. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think it sounds like the ultimate immersive Star Trek. I won't say that's probably a bit. I can't link it to Star Trek, but Starship experience, which I really want. I just want immersion from my games. That's all I want, and it just looks absolutely epic on that front.
Yeah, it kind of passed me by a little bit because I think this is more your speed than mine. But you were early on Starship Simulator.
I was early, and I probably didn't capitalize enough on it or follow up on it, and we definitely should. But you know, the struggle for us is we both still work full time. You know, the YouTube channel is something we do in the evenings, and it's still a struggle. I think if we're able to transition evenings, once we transition off of work, you know, the sky's the limit if we can do that. You know.
And we're planning that, just so everyone knows. We're all in.
Does your boss know this?
Yeah, no one at work knows I do this. So
yeah, okay. My whole team knows. So
oh dear.
Yeah.
But my next title I'm going to bring up is Age of History 3. I did a recent Grand Strategy upcoming list, and
cool.
I'll be honest, I'm looking for my next Europa Universalis.
Mm-hmm.
I've fallen out of love with EU4.
Yeah.
I have 2,000 hours in that game. I think
I'm disappointed in Paradox, right? Like, what did they do with Star Trek Infinite? That was just awful. They released it, they did a couple of patches, and then the dev team like got sacked or something. It was crazy, and now it's like the game's been completely dropped. It's not good.
I think, you know, I work in kind of a tech industry, and from what I understand, there are a lot of cutbacks going on, or let's call them optimizations. Companies are companies are cutting off maybe less revenue producing parts now because it's a lot leaner times, I would say. And so sadly, I think a lot of the projects which probably should have gotten a better or fairer shake haven't got that now. And that's probably what you see at Paradox. My big gripe with Paradox is, hey, we make a game, and now we make 200 DLC to go with it, and that's just drives me nuts.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. And it's not the fact that I'm against DLC, i.e. Gladius, because I buy every faction, but it doesn't fundamentally change the game. Whereas Paradox DLC, you never feel like you're playing the same version as anybody else.
100%. It becomes become disattached from the game. Some mechanics are kind of open to you, they're not really, and each one is $20 or more for sometimes a mission tree or something.
Do you know what's bothering me the most right now in this moment on this podcast?
The fact I'm being plunged into perpetual darkness.
The fact that I have some sort of weird towel behind me.
Yeah,
like I have. Why did I leave that there?
You would have thought, given all the prep time it took us to get this call started,
that I would have moved the towel from behind me.
Yeah, but
anyway, let's roll on. So now, at least I've called it out. Now I don't feel so bad.
Your last game.
I showered before the podcast.
Oh, well done, well done.
There you go.
Appreciate that. All right, and so your last game?
The magic of video editing. The towel is gone. Right, anyway, yeah, my next one is Novalis. There's not a huge amount of information out about the game. It's from the same people who did Cloudpunk. It looks a really cool cyberpunk city simulator. I'm super excited about it, and I have been for a long time. I'll probably try and reach out to them for some news and maybe try and cover it. Let's see.
Maybe I'm wrong, but this kind of, for some reason, triggers that Shadows of Doubt style. Mm-hmm. It's like, what do you call that? Voxel art? Is that right?
Voxel style, yeah, for sure. So, like I said, it basically caught my attention because of the game Cloudpunk, but yeah, it looks cool.
And you sunk quite a few. What's the premise of this game, though? Is it just a sim? Is it like...
It's a sim living within the city of Novalis, which was the city for the game Cloudpunk. So you're basically just a citizen, you go out and do jobs. But honestly, there's not that much information out there. I really do need to go and check it out and get some more.
We should definitely try and make a preview video on it as well.
100%. Like, it just looks great.
If there's no info, that's where I love if someone puts together this resource for everyone.
100%.
My last game, which I'll bring up, will be Broken Arrow. After I released, did a preview video on it.
The video I wanted to make and you stole.
No worries. Well, you've had your fair shake on the war RTSs. War No.
I am the war game guy, though. I mean, don't come into my area.
Yeah, I'm gonna do top 17 forgotten war game gems next. My next video, but no, it really hooked me in. If I make a preview video on something, it usually intrigues me massively. And this game has me really wanting to play a skirmish with my kind of HIMARS, my tanks with helicopter support, and, bringing in the aerial bombardments. It just looks really fun. And I like the fact it's like this joint task.
You sound like an absolute maniac. You just want to kill things.
Yeah. But I like the combined arms approach of it. How they're trying to go for this total war approach.
So if you like combined arms so much, how much War No did you play?
Extreme amount. No, you took the bloody key, mate. So yeah, I logged into the email. Key's gone.
I feel like you don't even have a key. You don't even have electricity.
I can't even afford lights, and you take all the keys. I can't resell anything. It's a disaster. To be honest, this channel.
It's not good.
Ad revenue pays me nothing. But yeah, so that's my list. Any kind of honourable mentions you want to throw in before we...
Well, I didn't get my third choice yet, but...
Oh, yeah, go on then.
We'll jump in. HunterNet Starfighter, I think it would be one for you as well. Looks like a really, really good space simulation / fighter game. Those always excite me. So yeah, that's my final one. Honourable mentions? Do you have any yourself?
Honourable mentions, I've got to say... quite a few from the grand strategy list, but
those look great.
One that really jumped out to me is on hiatus, which is Grey Eminence. They're trying to get funding, so right. If any...
Yeah, because I saw a lot of people commenting saying it was a scam, and I was worried you got caught out, but that's not actually the
No, I
case?
was in their Discord. I spoke to the guy,
Oh, okay.
and I messaged him and said, "Are you still active?" He says, "He's still active. We're just looking for funding to continue, and until then, we have to work our day jobs." And so I can definitely relate that
And
it's
that's the problem, right? Like, I think a lot of these people are doing this on the side, and game development is very hard. And then the expectation of gamers is huge. And of course, the gamer is the customer, and they are number one, and we get that. But there's a lot of other factors that go into it.
and this is the inception point basically for early access games, right? Where people can continue to work on something and still have something to live off in the interim. Now, I do understand the risks with early access, and I don't. I've never been burnt by a project. Have you?
I wouldn't even know I bought so many early access games. I don't care anymore. Often I just buy games to try them out. If they don't get finished, they don't get finished, and that's probably a bad mentality. But I know someone had a go at me because I said I what was it? I used the Steam refund policy, but I said the game became a victim of it, and they had a go at me. But I did clearly use the Steam refund policy, so I do believe in it. But yeah, I can't say I've really been burnt because
Yeah.
I mean, there was a game Objects in Space which never got finished. I'm playing a game currently which I picked up called Starbase, which was dropped for a while and now has been picked up again. I absolutely love it, but people hate it because it was dropped and picked up. But I kind of don't care because I'm into so many games. But I understand some people have a more limited budget and focus on projects, and they do need to deliver to early access projects at the end of the day.
Was Between the Stars finished?
Yes, they did eventually finish the storyline.
Okay, because that was one where I was like, I think that burnt a lot of people, but they just drew it out a really long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, if I can see it from the consumer's perspective, they should finish these projects. It's just that I don't particularly get hurt by it because we get games all the time. We get a lot of games that come our way for free, and I buy games all the time. I just buy them for my collection. So I can't say I've ever been burnt because I don't invest that much time
Okay. You're so
worrying about it.
rich. What you're saying is you're so rich
Yeah.
that it doesn't bother you whatsoever.
No.
Oh,
No,
right.
definitely
Okay.
not.
Oh,
Definitely not. Ad revenue. I'm barely keeping the lights on. Let's put it that way.
yeah. I'm in darkness, you're in light.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
all right. So fantastic. I think we can probably wrap things up here and we'll cut to our interview with Paul. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
Hope
thanks
you
for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. I mean, honestly, the growth of the channel has been mind-blowingly humbling for me. We really love it, and we just want to keep delivering for all of you, everyone out there. Obviously, we know most of our most of our demographic is male, but we have a few females who watch as well, which is great. And after being on camera, Tom, they'll
thank
they'll be they'll be flooding in.
thanks, Mum.
Do you know, it's not too far from the truth, I would say.
Mum and spouses, that's it.
Yeah, mum and spouses are our only female audience. But yeah, no, honestly, just brilliant. Absolutely loving it. It's a great hobby to have, and I think we're both really grateful. And like I said, we're not these jealous people like some of the people we've come across during our journey. We really want to help and support people. We cover games of niche studios because we want to help them. And we just love it, right? It's a real passion for us.
Yeah, that's all I can really say as well. I love.
Join our Discord, and also if you want to support the channel, join as a member. It really does help. Tom might be able to turn his lights on if you join as a member.
Yes, I won't be doing this by candlelight next time. So please join as a member. It helps us grow, helps us hopefully devote a lot more time to this and generating more content for you guys. And yeah, join the Discord. We try to do key giveaways whenever we get them. We're giving away everything that we don't review, basically.
Tom's giving away cash. No, he's not. I can't.
But
And
anyway,
I can't believe that I said at the beginning of this podcast, "Jack to the tits." I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I took too much sugar or something before the podcast.
yeah. So apologies for that, everyone.
Yeah,
My,
YouTube, don't ban us. We're good. We're very good.
yeah,
We never swear in our videos.
don't ban the A side.
Right.
Um,
Goodbye. Let's
all right,
go
bye,
on to the
guys.
interview. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And coming on to Outer Empires 2, we're joined by Paul, who is the lead developer. Am I right in saying that, Paul?
Yeah.
Of the team. And I think you have a few people involved in the team with Outer Empires 2.
That's right. There's a few of us building out the game. So one of the guys full time, and we've got some others that are part time. So we've been building it over the last, I don't know, 2.5 years, sort of trying to build it up and sort of coming back with our ideas and trying to build up the all the different parts of it. So yeah, it's a small
Awesome.
team.
So I think we're going to ask you first of all, before we get to Outer Empires 2, is what are your gaming inspirations? What got you into gaming? What are your favorite games?
It goes back really, really long way. So, right back when I was younger, about 4 or 5 years old, we used to play on the BBC Micro. We used to play Chucky Egg. It's like an awesome game. I remember like good family times and like getting around and doing sort of games like that. And then as I grew up, I sort of moved on to the SNES, moved away from PCs and started playing Mario and sort of other games like that. And really enjoyed it and like really enjoyed like playing games with other people. So we like played John Madden and NFL, and I fell in love with those sort of games and tactical games.
Classic.
And then when I got a little bit older, it's like all about the FPSs and RTSs. So like Age of Empires 2. I used to love America's Army, which is like a free game that the American government made for a while.
Yes, I remember that. I
Yeah,
played some of that a while ago. That was cool.
yeah, it's super awesome. So it's what I found though I really like is games that are all about teamwork. So it's team based games where you have to work with other people in a really tight way. You have to get better, and the only way to actually really win those games is to work in teams, and that's what I've sort of tried to build out over time. And then on the side of that, sandbox games is also where it gets really really interesting for me. So it's like being able to do whatever you want within the context of a game as a team.
So my guilty pleasure, as you might know, because you've seen me playing it, is Star Citizen. So I'm not sure if you've ever got into that.
So I've played a little bit. I've played some of the technical tests. Probably the last one around was about a year and a half ago. I love it. I love the scope of it. It is overwhelmingly amazing that they've managed to build out that sort of gaming sort of world and universe. Really,
But they do have an incredible budget to go with it as well. Let's say that. And who knows if they're actually ever going to deliver, but we hope.
yeah.
And can I ask, did you ever play Eve Online or anything like that?
So I played Eve a little bit. So I know Outer Empires is very, very similar to the way that Eve works, and I really brushed the surface. I think I was a bit late to Eve. That being said, I started about, I don't know, 8 years in, then I came back at 12 years, and I came back a little bit at 15 years, and tried different pieces of it and different parts of the game. Really, really liked the game. I don't think I ever really got in depth in it. Probably around 2008-ish is when we launched the original Outer Empires. So I'd also, I played a little bit of Eve then, but I actually wanted a game that was a little bit friendlier, is the way I describe it. It's like easier to get into and actually play with other people again. So that's why OE was sort of born as I originally started it.
I was completely hook, line, and sinker addicted to Eve Online, so I can see the similarities, but also where it differs. But you're exactly right. The unfriendliness of joining Eve, or the steep learning curve, was one of the things that put most players off. I felt you would join it, you would be, oh my god, this world's amazing, but the community in particular could be very harsh, and it's very
I,
difficult to
I
get by.
remember when I was younger, I used to come in your room and make you tell me about what was happening in Eve because it was so fascinating. Like a group called Bob or something, I remember you telling me about.
Yeah, back in the days when they took over all of space and ran a bit of a monopoly on the thing.
Which is awesome. That's part of the good side of it. I suppose the the less friendly side is what made Eve such an attractive place to actually play. The fact that there would be scams, there would be wholesale takeovers of systems, all of those things. That's part of the really cool side of Eve, and OE's got that in it as well. You can actually still do that in OE, but it's not the core part of the game. And maybe it will become that as more players arrive, but it's not what we've built it to be
I
directly.
think it's going to become that once Tom starts playing. He's told me his
Yeah,
plans, and
maybe.
they don't sound very nice, if I'm honest.
No, no,
Cool, awesome.
nothing nefarious from me. But
And just moving onwards, what are you currently playing? What do you play outside of OE? If you even get time to play other games, what inspires you gaming wise?
It's a good question. So I love games. I actually find that I don't play as much now because of all my spare time gets put into OE and building up pieces. But when I do get times to play different things, it could be RTSs again. So we play lots of different free ones. They're out there. I've been playing Grey Zone on as an FPS. It's like a
Yeah,
sandbox
how is
FPS.
that?
Really
I
really
was going
nice.
to buy it and I didn't. How is that game?
It's a great game in terms of scope. I felt the servers were a little bit laggy, so it's like I felt like I died more because the servers were killing me rather than
Right.
the people were killing me. I think I'd like to think it was the servers killing me rather than I was just really, really rubbish at
Welcome
the
to
game.
Star
But
Citizen.
yeah, yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
So I really like it. As it's like really nice tech piece and really, really sends things along. On the other side of it, I play things like Slay the Spire, I think it's called. It's like a card game where you like the cards and you go up the tower, and that's super good as well. And then what I really like doing, if it's not computer games, and actually I like to get away from it, it's board games. I'm like hugely addicted to playing board games and strategies.
Yeah. My background's grayed out, but I've got a huge thing of board games just behind me here. So me and the wife
I
love
thought you were
playing board
hiding
games.
something else there, Tom, to be honest. What are you really hiding? Something
No,
else going on there. But yeah, no, board games are awesome. But I have to say, I love the digital adaptations, and I think it's something I really want to cover in a list on the channel. So I was playing the latest Dune board game, and it is really, really cool. I played it on Steam Deck, so yeah, I can appreciate the board game mechanics really translate into wargaming quite well. So we've been quite successful in bringing wargaming onto the channel.
but it'd be
Yeah.
great to hear now about OE2, where it came from with the first inception of it, with Outer Empire as the initial, and now how it's evolved into the second incarnation.
Sure. So the original one I set out, I think back, it was like 15 years ago. I can't remember why I started. Every time I looked at building like another MMO, I thought after doing O1, it's like, I'm never going to do that again. But I wanted to build a game that was sandbox. I wanted to build one that was graphical, something that was cross-platform. At the time, mobiles, iPads, etc., all really, really new. In fact, the iPad was released halfway through OE1 development, and we made it just work. So we managed to make all the pieces work inside it as well. So in reality, I just wanted to build something that players could actually get stuck into, and create like a world that they could actually take part in. And that's what we found. We had governments, and you could vote people into the government, and it became like a really big meta gaming type piece. And some of the people that are playing now are only there because they enjoyed the game the first time around. And it wasn't the mechanics or the way the game felt and fit together, because it was a bit rubbish. It was like a 15-year-old game now, but it was about the meta game that's there. And then OE2, we sort of started a few years back. I sort of like I was in like a sort of garden leave period between jobs, and I thought, well, I need something to do to keep my mind going, and I really like coding, so I started building it again, and I started building it in the way I wanted to build it the first time around, with the technologies that are available today. And that's why it's now much more graphically interesting, more pleasing, more real time, and all the things I wanted to do last time around I got right this time. And we've built it out in a really, really, really great way, and the team is just phenomenally as well, or phenomenally good as well.
And how many are you on the team now? It's you. I
There's
think
three
you
of us.
said yes. That's right.
Three of us.
There's a
Yeah.
freelance and another full time.
Yeah, another full-time person. Yeah.
And I know, Paul, you did a Kickstarter. How did that go for you?
It was good. I mean, we achieved our goal, which was really, really nice. Obviously, you always hope for, like, see Kickstarters have got like millions and millions. We hoped for that one. We didn't get that one, but we got enough to actually, satisfy what we wanted. A little bit more publicity, more testers, and that was like a really big thing. We need more people to play it, to stress test the game. And because we're such a small company and we don't really have a lot of budget for doing advertising, it was a great way to actually get our name out there. And some of the people that come in have been really amazing as well. They've been like really invested,
Like Tom.
like Tom.
Yeah. So one thing in this game that struck me immediately was the scope of it. And now, what is the plan or the vision that you have for where this game is going to go in terms of, because the galaxy seems immense, and I'm going to sideline or put some footage of the world map, or the galaxy map rather, as we're talking about this. But it'd be great for you just to kind of give some words to what you plan for this with the scale and scope of it.
So part of the game we wanted to build was actually create a real economic game. So most games, you play in an MMO, you play something, you can get your wood from wherever, and you can get it to your place in an hour, and it's all there, and everything's ready. But what we wanted to do is actually make it so there was economic zone. So there's real travel distance inside the game. If you want to move from even to the top to the bottom of the government space, it will take you 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get out there. Especially if you're in a big ship, it takes even longer. And so as you get further and further away from these safe areas, so the government space, it becomes lawless, or lawless in so much as the factions control what's going to happen. And so what we want to do is we want to encourage that. And so all of the gameplay pieces we're putting in right now are around encouraging teamwork and making the game so that they can own their own areas, they can have their own laws, they can have lawless areas, they can have areas where they want to have economic powers. But the other thing is, technologies will develop. So the research system in the game is completely different to other pieces out there that I've seen, but it's about dynamic research that will change over time. So if somebody's building really good shields that defend against one thing, everybody's weapons in the area are going to be slightly different, but you'll find over time those areas diverge. So one area of the galaxy will have amazing missiles, another area will have amazing beam weapons, and then they'll clash at some point in the middle. And that's what I want to see. In terms of what we want to actually build, though, future pieces, it's about extending the galaxy. There's an alien menace out there. There's always an alien menace, isn't there, in like big space games? But there is one
Always.
out there, and it's going to arrive at some point in the future. Not soon, but it will start to creep up, and it will be a subtle change that people will start to notice, and it will start to invade into the areas, and they'll have to fight back against it.
So that's like
And
I forget what they're called, the Thargoid or something in Elite Dangerous. Remember then they invaded the galaxy?
yeah, exactly that.
Cool,
And
cool.
it's again, it's a mechanism to get people to team together to work in a different way, and different factions that may have been battling before are going to have to start working together to actually overcome these sort of issues.
So it strikes me that the gameplay in Outer Empires 2 is very much emergent, right? It's going to be player driven. There's going to be stories that get created out of what the actual players are doing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same as the last time around. We're going to have the player government. What we did was we allowed all of the citizens of the galaxy, all the players, to vote on who they wanted in the player government. So you've seen that in other games. I think Eve has like their way of doing that. But we had the same thing inside game, inside voting, and then those players then get given a list of different options. They can actually spend a budget they've got, and they can spend it on dev items. So things that we've come up with as like new pieces. They choose which ones they want. They campaign on the ones that they're going to actually do, and then they implement. And well, they say they want it. We implement them, and we build it up. And there was some really creative pieces that came out of that last time round. They wrote their own. So one of the pieces, they wrote their own constitution early on. So the first government that came in, they said, we can't just be a government. This is rubbish. We need to have our own constitution. They wrote a really long constitution, really amazing. It's like, is that okay, Paul, dev team? It's like, yeah, of course it is. It's like, you're the government, you do it. So the next government comes in, and this time round, a pirate gets voted in. He paid off loads of people to vote for him, absolute tons of people. He paid them off. He became the president of the galaxy because he got the most. He said, Paul, right, I don't want to do any of that. Can I now just cancel all of the government space safety? And I was like, no, you can't do that. It's a bit rubbish in terms of game sense. He said, but I've read through the constitution and there's nothing to say I can't do whatever I want with the money as a president. So yeah, that's very true. So he said, I'll take all of the money this time round and I'm going to lead the government straight away. So he stole all the money in the budget for the next 6 months and he ran off with that. And then everybody hunted him and all his colonies for the next little while. But it's those little bits of gameplay that they build up and the players come up with themselves is what makes the game really, really good.
I don't
That's
think
what
you
the
should let
emergent
Tom
gameplay is.
into this game. I don't think you should let Tom into this game. Honestly, I see it's right for an authoritarian takeover. I think Tom's going to be the man for that.
Vote for LT Tom. That's what I'm already campaigning. But it to bring it back also to something familiar to myself, Eve Online. I remember what got me into that game was I read a PC Gamer article on it back when there was actual magazines, and it was about the biggest heist ever done or the biggest theft ever done, and in real world value it was like I guess $10,000, $20,000, and so it was big news at the time that people are actually losing money in this kind of virtual world. But that is what appealed to me, was this ability for people to come in and completely shape that narrative, and it becomes something that maybe even the devs didn't intend in the beginning, and that's just a complete hook to me. So I can see the potential here with that.
Just following on from that, Tom, why won't you join me in Star Citizen then?
I don't know. I feel like it's a dangerous path. If I go into it,
You've got a great job. You've got your wife and your kid. Yeah, I can see it all going to shit if you join an MMO again.
4 o'clock in Saturday morning, I'm up, grinding away.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm trying to protect myself there. But what can people do in the game? So if you're gonna kind of sell it in a thing of what professions, what avenues, because the thing in Eve was obviously you could mine, you could rat, you could do all sorts of exploration, and I feel like there's the same potential here as well. But I don't understand enough of the game yet to really talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the number of different things you can do at the moment is it's limited, and we're slowly building the pieces. But there's lots of hauling and stuff. There's like jobs you can get inside the game. So you can do hauling, you can do exploration inside it. You can explore for your own colonies, so you can go out there and work out where you want to put your actual colonies rather than doing it for money from the system. You'll eventually be able to mine asteroids, a bit like Eve again, so mining those in non-safe areas. And that with all the pirating and all those other pieces that come with that, you can set up your own space stations and you can make money through the share system there. So if you build your own station and people start using it for fueling or mechanic pieces or market stuff, you get a percentage of the money that comes in there, and we'll be able to tweak that later on, so you'll be able to charge more or less to make your area more attractive. But really, going back to what you were saying at the first bit, it's what you were talking about, the player agency. So the ability for the players to really change the galaxy. And that's what we really, really do inside Outer Empires. So in Eve, it's sort of like a reasonably static. You've got the systems, you've got the stations that are there, and you control areas of space. Within OE, you can create new things, you can create new colonies, you can create new stations and outposts and star bases, and you can change the way that people actually move around, because you can't actually get anywhere unless those stations, the player stations, are there. You literally can't get outside of government space. And we've actually only just started seeing that in the testing now. People have built a few stations. It's become an incredibly populous region in terms of space and the money and the profit they can make there. But pirates have sprung up, and then they're holding people up. So they're like, give me 50,000 credits, or I'm going to shoot you, and you're going to lose a load of like whole hit points, which will cost you more than 50,000 credits, and they're like paying up. And so people are actually making their own profession. So there's emergent gameplays, the ability to change stuff just because you're there and you can think of another way of doing it. That's what we built. That's what we want to push all the time.
It's amazing how human beings go to extortion so quickly.
So quickly, yeah. Defense rackets.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Racketeering just pops up straight away.
And right now, how many people are in the current testing phase that you have? Do you know?
It's actually only 30 or so, 30, maybe 35. I think we've got there, depending on how many are playing. About 20 daily are actually logging and playing. What we're really looking for is about 100, as I say. We want to stress test a little bit. We want to see if the systems are going to hold up when we do combat, when we do sort of movement around in different areas, having the NPCs moving around and shifting stuff about, and then people attacking those as well. So we want to just up the numbers a little bit in our next alpha, just so we can start testing and really pushing some of the boundaries and making sure everything technology-wise is solid.
And are you accepting people all the time at this current point?
We are, yeah. So if people come into the Discord server and they ask about the testing, we're pretty much getting people in there.
We'll stick that in the description as well, the link to the Discord server. So please do go and join if you're interested. Tom, anything else you'd like to ask?
No, I think that's a great summary of the game and a good kind of lineage of how this sprung up as well. So thanks for sharing with us, Paul.
And not to put you under any pressure or anything, but what on LT Gaming has caught your eye recently? I know that you've been a fan of the channel for a while. Is there any particular games that you've seen that we featured that you enjoy or want to try?
I think today I looked at. I mean, I did actually buy Manor Lords because you put the video, but also I looked at.
I've got my Manor Lords helmet in the background there.
So cool, very cool. Yeah, no, and also I looked at Overlord today. So the fact you can play it on Mac as well is sort of, it attracts me as well, because I really like to be able to play on whatever platform I want, rather than having to fire up my PC or whatever. But yeah, so I watch it. I love war games, so it's like my guilty pleasure. I try not to buy them all, because if I do, then I'll get sucked in. And that's
I literally buy them to collect them at this stage. I bought a couple off Slytherin last week. I think they are the I think it's called Case Blue. And I haven't even played it or fired it up yet. So, I mean, I literally are buying them to collect them at this stage. But it's very useful for lists. If I need to jump in, try a new game, it helps. But yeah, I'm almost a collector now, in that phase. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a noob on war games, so haven't played too many, but the ones I have played I've enjoyed. So
says the guy who covered Broken Arrow today. That's not good.
Perfect, and we're going to wrap things up there, and big thanks to Paul for coming on, joining us here today. And if you're looking to join the game, jump into the Discord, is that right?
That's right, yeah, jump into the Discord, ask about testing, and we'll get you sorted out. And thank you guys for having me on the channel today as well. So I love the stuff you guys are doing.
Much appreciated. You're our first guest on our podcast, so it might be the last. You never know.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it. Thanks,
guys. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.